Hi, all, it's Laura, and I'm back with another What Sold this week. We're going to start off the first half of the show with what I sold on Whatnot. Um, I just finished my show a little while ago. I had a total of 13 items sell for $215 before fees. Those 13 items are going to six different buyers, three of whom are first time buyers for me. So, a nice, like, average, lower average, acceptable show. It's probably going to be about $185 after fees. As usual, that's going to be in the item description below. And I did get rated twice today, so that was super fun. Other sellers who were ending their shows raid my show, like they bring all of their buyers and they all kind of jump into my show. So that happened twice. That was cool. And the first seller who rated me gave me a tip of $1. So that was very nice. I was excited about that. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and get into what I sold. For some reason, I have 13 pieces here, but I only sold 12. I'm sorry, I have 14 pieces. I only sold 12 items. So one of these shouldn't be here. We'll figure that out before we get to the end, I suppose. All right, so first package that I'm wrapping up is going to a repeat buyer for me, one of my regular customers currently, and amazing taste as always. So first is this cute little pair of linen and cotton blend pants. These are by Outback Red. It was such a nostalgic little tag to look at for me. So cute. So these sold for, I believe, $15. I don't think anything got bid up today. I did have several items that had pre-bids, and but I think that everything today sold for my starting bid, which pretty normal for me. Um, let's see. So let me get these all folded. These have a nice sharp little crease in them, everything already. So I'm going to try and maintain that. I've got Rizzo sitting here being just an absolute delight today. You're always a delight, Rizzo. She was on fire during my show today, man. She was all over the place. Oh, this button is open on these pants. I want to close that up and make it look nice. All right, so that's those pants. And then the second item that this buyer purchased from me is this really cute little blazer. It looks like, it reminds me of like an old smoking jacket with the quilted lapel, and it's got that velvet paisley. It's really cute. That's the tag. This is also kind of like an extra small. Both of these pieces are. And I am pretty positive that this also sold for, yeah, this was also $15. So that's fun. Two very adorable pieces. I think I got both of these yesterday. So in and out. That's how we like it, mostly. Let's see. So I, once again, last evening was up until like 2 o'clock in the morning prepping for this show. And I really I gotta cut this habit out because I can't do it. I mean, I can, obviously, because I keep doing it, but it's very taxing on me and I don't like it. So I really want to try and prep a little bit in advance. Um, I've been trying to do a little bit more advanced prep, but at the end of the day, I can't believe I just said that. I keep coming back to like my 30 new items each week, still like loading them all up, doing all the work for them the day before the show, entering all the descriptions, taking all the photos. Even loading up the photos is not super easy. I mean, it's easy, but it's not quick. I write all my descriptions on Whatnot first. And maybe I should take my photos. No, because even then I do all my drafts on the computer. I would have to wait for the photos to upload to iCloud, which takes, for some reason, a decade and a half. I don't understand why. I'm trying to get all the air out of this package. So, the whole process just takes too long, and I'm up too long, and I gotta find a way to get out of this toxic cycle. All right, next is a new to me buyer who purchased 2 items. First is this really cute little Putumayo set. It's this little quilted vest. And then this matching skirt. Very adorable. And this sold for $30. I think this actually did get bid up. I don't know if I can see. Let me see. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure I started this at 20. I don't think I would have started it at 30. I think it did get bid up. I am the worst. I think to when I'm running items during a show, I don't want to I don't want to feel like I'm pressuring people at all. Um, and I don't want to feel like a sense of anxiety and or disappointment or anything. So I think when the auction is running, I just maintain this kind of like, okay, the auction is running and like, if it sells, cool. If not, whatever, that's fine too. Um, and so I guess as a result of that, I'm not really watching to see what is going on with the bidding necessarily. Like often I'll figure out that it's been bid on, but that's kind of it. I don't watch closely and like, oh, Jimmy's in the lead. You know what I mean? Like I don't do that kind of stuff. But I think that also results in me like, oh, hey, that got bids. Anyway, so that sold for 30, which is great. And then the second item that sold for this particular buyer is this really fun piece that I also picked up yesterday. So it's got all this great crochet. It's probably like a 90s era. There's no tags on this whatsoever. It's a very open size piece. It's very artsy. I thought it was a lot of fun. So that sold for 15. I'm going to get this packaged up far away from little Miss Rizzo over here and all of her sharp toes. Okay, not far away from Rizzo because she's on the table and I need to use it. So there we go. Not my favorite folding job for either one of those, but the vest was not going to fold up the way that I like it to. So there we go. So let's see, got those two. So apparently it's a full moon like tonight or maybe last night, something like that, full moon time. And things are behaving as though it's a full moon because I don't know. I had two different things that I ordered come in today. And I don't order a whole bunch of stuff online. You all know this, but one was a thing I got off of Poshmark. I got some Doc Martens that I was very happy I finally pulled the trigger on and bought boots because I need new ones. But they came and the zipper was broken. So I opened a case for that, and it's already Poshmark hasn't made a decision, but the seller already was very nice about it and was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, didn't whatever, didn't notice. Please feel free to return them." She was very nice, so that's good. But the second thing was a Depop item, and Depop, like a lot of Depop sellers, don't like taking returns. This looks like it's a bigger seller, but also the item that I purchased was like an Olga nightgown and they didn't seem to know what it was. So I can't tell how experienced they are. Maybe they're a very experienced seller with later era pieces. Anyway, so I sent the seller a message to see if they will accept a return because it's the Olga nightgown, but it's got like this lace panel here and the lace is like torn in several places. So we'll see. If the seller won't accept the return, that'll really suck, but at least it wasn't like an arm and a leg. It was like $35 all in shipping and everything. So hopefully they accept the return. I I absolutely hate returning things. I hate raising the issue at all. Like I really hate being like a customer with a complaint, but these were both very valid complaints. And so I'm glad that I said something. In both cases, especially the Depop one, like the Poshmark, at least, you kind of go through Posh. Like I couldn't even use the boots, like the zipper's broken, you know what I'm saying? So, but like something like the Depop thing, a lot of times in the past, I would have just let it go and been like, oh, well, I guess I'll eat it. And so I'm glad I didn't do that, but let's see. But it is disappointing. All right, next is a repeat buyer for me who purchased this dress. It's such a cute little dress. Look at this rose print. I love it. And little charter club there. So this sold for $15. And I think I actually just got a message on Whatnot. I think somebody wants to purchase another item, which I should look at after I'm done filming this video, shouldn't I? I should focus and film the video, but also if they really do want to buy it, then I can include it in my video with you, right? Let's see. Let's see. Okay. All right. So yes, we'll get to that in a minute. It's funny because somebody messaged me asking about an item. I was literally like logging off as they joined the show. So she sent me a message asking for some clarification on some measurements, and I clarified, and then she said, "Okay, great, I'll take it." Okay, I have to put it into a buy it now and all that stuff for her. Um, I guess I'm just laughing because like I am so old school customer service that my response would have just been like, "Oh, thanks. I'm interested in buying it. Like, do you want to set it up as a buy it now? How should I do it?" And I feel like modern communication leaves a lot unsaid and a lot to be like assumed. And maybe that's fine. Maybe I'm just being like old school, you know, I definitely over explain things and whatnot, but it's just funny. All right, so I'll take care of that after. In fact, the item that they are interested in, they want to purchase, is this, which is a really cute little shirt from the Limited in the 90s. And that will sell at $15. I'll send her, I'll set it up for her after I'm done filming this video with y'all. So let's see. Okay. Let's go. Next is, I'm going to skip that one. I'll do that one last. Next is a new to me buyer who purchased this little suit. This thing is so fucking cute. I love it. This is a vintage Mindy Malone. It's like a little two-piece little mini skirt, cotton seersucker. But look at the collar on this jacket. I love it. And then it's got these adorable little pockets, right? How cute. It is missing a button, which I didn't notice until I tried it on. Missing that button right there. So I did disclose that, obviously. Or maybe not, obviously. We all know me noticing flaws sometimes, but I noticed it and then I disclosed it because I noticed it in time. Yay for me. Anyway, this sold for 20. No, it sold for 15. I am surprised at myself. Is that what it sold for? This one? Yeah. Okay. All right, girl. 15. That's okay. That's good. Yeah, I think I only paid like $3 for this. So I think that like, I always walk this fine line of like wanting my whatnot to attract a lot of people because my prices are so great, but also everything sells at the starting price. So, I was watching another show yesterday. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. My computer is going crazy. I was watching another whatnot show yesterday. It's this seller called Vintage Clubhouse, and they're a bigger seller. They do a lot of like storage unit buyouts and stuff. And the first time I ever saw them, they had purchased a storage unit full of women's clothing, vintage clothing, and that's not their normal thing. Like their normal thing, I don't know what their normal thing is, honestly, but it was not women's vintage clothing. They had no fucking idea what they were doing or what any of the stuff was, but it was all like phenomenal stuff. And they were starting it at a dollar bid, and it was fucking exploding everywhere. They had so many buyers in and people were bidding things up because they were really amazing things. And so I think they now seek that kind of stuff out because it does really well for them. I don't know what else they do because I don't tune into their shows super frequently. And when I do, it's only for the women's vintage clothing. But I was watching that yesterday and I have no idea why I started telling you that. Why am I telling you that? Oh my God, I don't know. Okay, anyway, maybe I'll remember later. Probably not. Let's see. All right, next is, okay, I guess I'll do this one. This is oh, I know why I was telling you. Because, I'm just watching all this activity that they have. So they're starting things low and it's getting bid up like crazy. But, they have that audience. But also they go on a lot more frequently than I do. They do these really big buyouts and then they'll do things and start them low. And I just haven't gotten the audience to be able to afford to do that. And I think that the trick with Whatnot is that you really have to get inventory that you are able to start at very low prices and attract that audience and attract that following, and then keep up that pace, so to speak. So you have a show where you have phenomenal stuff and you're starting it off at like $1, $5, whatever. And then you really build up this following, but then you have to keep doing that over and over again, probably more than once a week, you know. So I would love to be able to do that, but I don't, that's not the dynamic that I have, you know. And I don't think that I'm in a position at the moment to be able to have that dynamic. I think that, you know, I don't have the space or financial resources to deal with that level of inventory. I can't just run around buying out people's entire estates. You know, I don't have the resources for that. So, but I, you know, I get jealous watching those kind of shows. I get jealous of the inventory that he had. And I also get jealous of like the way it's getting bid up and everything. But, you know, my little shows are working well for me right now. And at least I'm like steady. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, so this buyer is a new to me buyer. This is the first time they purchased from me, and they purchased 4 items. So first is this very cute little y2k skirt. There are no tags in this. It is an Asian print, and this is like a very popular type of motif in the 2000s. I love it. I think it's such a fun print. I love finding it. So she bought this. This sold for $15, I'm sure. Let's see. Yes, 15 for that. And then the next item that she purchased was this y2k velvet burnout dress. It's really pretty. Phase 8. That's pretty right there, right? And this sold for $20. Oh, what did I just do? Girl. Okay, there we go. Now let me fold this up. So once again, I am dealing with Miss Riz on my table and a microphone on my chest. So I can't hold this up against my body and I cannot fold it on the table. So there we go. Let's see. There we go. That's fine. All right. Next is this very adorable jumpsuit. Look how cute that is. Love this. And this sold for probably 15, but let's double check. 15. All right. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. Trying to fold this without disturbing the queen over here. Rizzo was nuts during my show today. She was just launching herself like a kamikaze onto my table. She was chewing. I had to plug in my phone at one point because Whatnot sucks up your battery like nobody's business. And she was chewing on the charging cord, which was jostling the phone. Like, Rizzo, you're going to make everybody seasick, please. Knock it off. And then she was chewing on me, and her claw got stuck in my flesh, and I could not extract it very quickly. All right, and next she purchased this dress. This is a silk dress by Jack McQueen. Yep. And this also sold for $15. So that was nice. Unbutton this. Here. Okay. But I made it through another show, even though I was so tired this morning. I woke up this morning at like, I don't know, 6:30 or something. And, you know, my show starts at 10 and most of the stuff was done. The items were loaded. The photos were all loaded up, descriptions, everything. I had to renumber items for the show. And then, of course, like shower and have breakfast and all that. I really wanted to go back to sleep at 6:30, but it was one of those things, you know how sometimes you can go back to sleep and your nap could be 15 minutes and you're feeling refreshed, or you fall asleep and then you wake up 3 hours later and you're like, oh, shit. And I couldn't afford for that to happen. It's like, let me just wake up now. But I really didn't want to really wanted to stay there. So, but we made it through the show. I was mostly coherent. I definitely start off my shows like full of adrenaline and I sound overly caffeinated, and I'm not. Well, sometimes I'm sure I am, but I was not this morning. I only had 1 cup of coffee this morning before the show. All right, let's see. And then my last buyer. See, did I just not know how to count? I didn't have an extra piece over here at all. Okay, my last buyer is a repeat buyer, and all of these were pre-bids, so I don't think that she was actually in the show. But as usual, she has excellent taste, and I'm so excited. So these pants, I just showed these off in my most recent little hoarder video. So these are out the door. Yay, one tiny step. I thought that these are super tiny in the waist. These are like a 26-inch waist, right? They have these great embroidery on the side. I called them cigarette pants in the hoard video. They're more like a pedal pusher. They're a capri length. So they don't look very impressive right here, but they are so freaking cute. They're super high-waisted and very slim fitting. They've got like the little metal zipper up the back, right? And then let me show you the tag because it's cute and I like to. So I was excited about these pants. I bought these at the estate where I got all of those vintage nylons, if you remember that video. Oh, and also it's got an older union tag. So, yeah, so I bought it at that estate with all those old nylons and stuff. And I thought they were like really going to be like crazy tiny, but it's just the waist is crazy tiny. So I was able to put these on to model them. I just couldn't zip them all the way up. But because I got them on, I was like, I lose a little bit of weight. I could actually probably wear these. And I was like, maybe I won't sell them. I did. And I am a little bit jealous, but also I'm happy that they are going to who they're going to. So it's exciting. All right. The next item that she purchased was this shirt. And this I was also extra excited about because this is the first time I sewed a zipper into an article of clothing. So it looks like it's the first time I've sewn a zipper into an article of clothing. Right? You can see the visible stitching there. And then I had to do some hand stitching around this part here and also up along here. And then like ideally there would be like a hook and eye there, but you know, I hate those things and I didn't do that. But yeah, I was excited. So, now that I've learned how to do that, I will be doing more of them. The reason that I had to do the hand stitching, I think, is because the sewing instructor, she's very loosey-goosey. She's very like, yeah, just I told you this. Like, just bring in the projects that you have and we'll figure it out, kind of thing. Like that's the structure of the class. And so I said, like, do I need a zipper foot? No. So a zipper foot on a sewing machine is just a different shaped thing that holds the fabric down if you don't sew. And the reason it's shaped a little different is because the zipper has a lot of bulk to it. And so if you want to get the needle close enough, you're going to need to have a slimmer pedal, little foot. They call it a presser foot on the sewing machine. So she's like, no, you don't need that. And I didn't, I was able to do it mostly, but I couldn't go around that little U at the bottom. And I would have liked to have gotten the seam closer to the edge. So they do have a zipper foot there. I am planning on bringing some more pieces to do zippers on. And I want to try and use the zipper foot. I have a zipper foot for my machine, so I can do these things at home. Will I? I mean, eventually, yes. Anyway, so I was very excited about that. And I'm also excited that it's going to. You got my first zipper repair ever. Momentous occasion. So thank you for being part of that journey. All right. And then she got this dress, which I love. This is like a 70s stretchy, slinky dress. But wait till you see the tag, which you just saw in the haul video, but I'm going to show you again because it's amazing. Look at that tag. Isn't that so cool? I love these things. And this sold for, I didn't tell you any of these prices, did I? The pedal pusher pants sold for $15, which is a fucking stupid steal. This dress sold for $15, and the shirt also sold for $15. The shirt I listed at $15 because the zipper was a little janky. There was also some repairs done to the seam, both by me and by someone prior to me. So, it was like a super fun shirt, but it had some condition issues. I definitely priced it hoping that it would attract some attention, and it, it did. It didn't get bid up or anything, which is kind of what I was hoping for, but that's okay. And the pants I priced lower because when I was building the listing and whatnot, I I thought they would be like prohibitively small. So I was like, let's just do it at 15, like whatever. Also, I mean, Rizzo, Jesus, I was able to afford to do it at 15. Like, that whole estate sale lot, which is actually where I got this too, has already paid for itself with like 2 pairs of nylons. So, so that was fine too. But they're such cool pants. Can you not, Rizzo? She is so she's trying to like chase little strings and stuff today. Anyway, so that is everything for this Whatnot show today. So if you stay tuned, this is not going to go well right now. If you stay tuned, I'm going to show you what else I sold this week. And we'll be back in just a moment for that. All right, so let's take a look at the sales that I made throughout the rest of the platforms. These are going to be sales that I made from Friday, February 7th through Thursday, February 13th. Let me fix this and then we will get into it. So this first item that I sold is on Depop. As you can see, it's a little cup and a bowl. This is a child's set that was sold in like the early mid-century era. Ranger Joe was a kid's cereal, and so these were like promotional dishware pieces. It's really cute. They're very small. And the problem with this set was that the bowl had a little hairline fracture in it. So look how cute these are. And, let's see, little there. It had this, so the bowl wasn't like broken, but it wasn't, it just, it can break. Anyway, so I listed the set together for $24. I don't remember what comps were on this at all. My $24 includes shipping. On Depop, I do free shipping. So I had it listed for $24. I got an offer from someone for $15. Now on Depop, I cannot see where the buyer lives. So that sucks because on something like this, if it's, going to New Jersey, this could cost me maybe $5 or $6. Going to California, it costs like $10. I can't tell where the buyer is before I accept an offer. I feel like it's tacky to be like, oh, where do you live? So I just kind of decide whether or not it's something I want to accept or not. They sent me an offer for 15. I accepted it because it was cracked. It's a sale on Depop. Like once every 6 years, I have to get a sale on Depop, I guess, right? So naturally, the buyer is, can you guess where the buyer was? Fucking California. So this did cost $10 for me to ship out. So after that, I made $5. Depop fees are only like $1 on this because Depop charges the fees to the buyer, not the seller. So I still pay payment processing, but whatever. I basically did not make any money on this. I probably spent $4 just in fucking bubble wrap because I'm a paranoid freak when it comes to shipping things. So that was my first sale, Friday, February 7th. I had 0 sales Saturday or Sunday, the 8th and 9th. So the next sale that I made was not until Monday the 10th on Etsy. Now on Etsy, this particular buyer actually purchased 2 different items for me. She got this set of 4 plates and this individual plate, but I'm going to talk about them individually, not as a combined set. So she did use a coupon for this. It was another one of those like favorited items or abandoned cart coupons. So it gave her 20% off. So for this set of plates, it was $40, obviously, as you can see. 20% off would have brought these down to $32. Shipping for this, the shipping for the 2 sets of plates together was $10.66. So I just split that in half, right? So it was $5.33 for this set, bringing the total that I made on these to $26.67. And then this other plate, this is a set of 4 plates, and these were small for the record, right? And then the other plate, which was also small, this one, singular plate, $24. With the 20% off, that was $19.20, $5.33 for shipping again, so about $13.87 for this. So I do believe that this buyer was pretty local. like maybe 1 or 2 states over. They weren't very far away. Oh, maybe it was North Carolina. I don't know. They were pretty close. So the shipping wasn't too bad, even though it was like a total of 5 small plates, the shipping was pretty reasonable. So that was cool. All right, next up, also on Monday the 10th, was eBay with a pair of panties. This was the first pair of panties that I sold from that lot of Victoria's Secret thong panties that I got the week prior. These were listed for $29 on eBay. They sold for $29. That was fantastic. I don't do shipping. I don't do free shipping on eBay, so 29 bucks. It was great. Next, I sold more panties on Poshmark. And so this person purchased 5 pairs of panties for me on Poshmark. So they purchased these, 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 and those. So the way that this works on Poshmark, if you're not already familiar, is Poshmark, you can create a bundle. So essentially, it's like kind of putting items in your cart, but it's not your cart, I guess, whatever. So the buyer created a bundle with these 5 pairs of panties. This particular one, you can see I priced at $39. The reason these panty prices are all a little bit different, I did basically look them all up as I was listing them to sort of figure out pricing. Stuff like this, sometimes there's going to be a particular one that's worth a lot more money than others for no rhyme or reason to me, or I mean, I'm sure there's a reason sometimes. I just can't always tell necessarily what it is. So I sometimes will do a lot of research just to make sure. Anyway, so I priced this pair at 39, and then all the other ones I had priced at 29 for what she purchased, right? So so she put all 5 pairs of these into this bundle. The way that I had them priced, that would have come to $155 for all 5 pairs. Now, people will put things into a bundle and then just wait, because what they're doing is they're hoping I will send them an offer. And if somebody puts like one thing into a bundle on Poshmark, I don't necessarily send an offer. I do send out offers to likers a lot of the time. But if they put 2 or more things into the bundle, I will usually send an offer out. I do take advantage of a feature on Poshmark where if people put in, I don't know if I do 2 or more items, maybe I do 3 or more, I forget, but it automatically will offer them a discount when they bundle a bunch of items together. So I have that set at like 15% on Poshmark, but I almost never get sales that way. So she put all these into the bundle, $155. I sent her an offer for basically 25% off. 25% off would have been $116.20. I'm just changing the photos so that you can see different ones as I talk about this. Would have come to $116.20. I sent her an offer for $115 for all 5 pairs of panties. I did not include a shipping discount. That is optional on Poshmark. Poshmark is like both great and terrible in this sense that they are very transparent with what your fees and everything are going to be. So when the buyer has this bundle put together, right, and I'm looking at the bundle, and it will show me, you price the bundle at $155. This is the discount, like with the whatever the 15% that I offer. This is how much the bundle would be. If I then choose to send an additional discount, Poshmark will say, okay, so you're sending, you're going to send them an offer of like $115. This is how much you're going to get after fees, which in this case would have been $92, right? So it's great because it's super transparent. You know exactly what you're going to get paid, but also all in one screen, I am looking at, Laura priced this at 155. We're going to offer 115, but we're going to get 92. So in the space of like a second, it's dropped from $155 down to $92, like in your head, And so sometimes it's really hard to offer an additional shipping discount on top of that. Just keep watching your profit drop. But so I didn't offer a shipping discount on this. The buyer did accept the offer. So $115 for 5 pairs of panties. It averages out to $23 per pair. And so yeah, that was pretty great. I will take it, right? They're all very cute little panties. I like them. And then as we know from my haul video, I have some more that I found that I have to list this weekend. All right, so that was the end of my sales for Monday the 10th. I had 0 sales on Tuesday the 11th. Boo. Wednesday the 12th, we are selling some more panties. I love panties. You can see why I like getting panties when I find good ones. So Wednesday the 12th, the first pair I sold was on eBay. These are the second skin satin panties, which are always a good purchase. The reason, I recognize them a lot because like I shopped at Victoria's Secret during this era. I was already very familiar with it. And again, the more you deal with these things, like, you come familiar with what the item is. So I know that they're second skin satin. Um, and I listed them at $79 based on other comps that I had seen. And I received an offer from the buyer for $65. I accepted that offer. And again, the buyer pays shipping. So these sold for me for $65. Excellent. And I do have another pair that I'm going to list this weekend. So excited about that. And it's super easy because I just like copy the listing and change a couple details. So that's fantastic. Then my next sale for Wednesday the 12th was my very first Mercari sale ever. Congratulations to me. It's another pair of panties. So these I had listed at $49. I had sent out an offer for 20% off I did it through Vendu, but you can do it through Mercari too. I don't know that I've done it directly through Mercari yet. I probably should just so that I know how that works. But I think you have to like do it one at a time. And in Vendu, I can just do it like I can select like 15 things and send offers. So it's very easy. Anyway, I listed these at 49. I sent out an offer for 20% off. So $39.20. The buyer accepted the offer. I do free shipping on Mercari. This was only $3.98 for shipping, which is beautiful. Like anything under $4 is practically unheard of in shipping anymore. It's only because they were really nearby and this was super lightweight. It's like these weigh like 2 ounces, not even after packaging and everything. So my total on these came to $35.22. Not bad. Also, I learned that Mercari limits you to 100 listings when you do not have a history as a seller, which like makes sense. Like I get it. I just wish that I could apply for like an exception to the rule because I'm an established seller elsewhere. It's messing up my whole listing vibe. Since now I can't, I'm not gonna keep track of what I did not get cross posted to Mercari. It's gonna be very annoying. Anyway, it is what it is. So sold these first sale. Congratulations to me. And then the final sale of the week that I will be going over here was made on Etsy on Thursday the 13th. And it was this pair of brown wool blend pull-on pants. So elastic waist, just brown wool blend pants. I had them listed at $39. This was another thing that sold using like a 20% off coupon, abandoned cart or favorited item, something like that. So they came to $31.20 after the discount. Shipping on this, I do free shipping on Etsy, cost me $5. So my total on these came to $26.20 after the discount and shipping. So those are my sales for the week. Other than obviously the whatnot, which we just went over. So that was pretty exciting. And I don't know why I'm saying that was pretty exciting. Like it was like not a great week. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. The panties definitely pulled it out of the fire for me. So thank God for that. And I will definitely be listing my next batch this weekend. I didn't find as many, but I found two that'll be hopefully really decent money makers. The other thing I thought I would share with you is I have two buyer experiences from this past week that were not the most satisfactory. As you may know, I don't do a lot of shopping online as far as like clothing and stuff. I mean, I get it all through thrifting, right? So I don't usually find that I have to buy a whole bunch of stuff online. But I did purchase two different items over the past week or two that I got yesterday, and they both made me sad. So the first was I got a pair of Doc Martens off of Poshmark. I think I spoke about these before. I had gotten like a $50 credit on Poshmark through like a contest that I won that I didn't know I was entered in. So I ordered some boots, and they were just like white combat boot kind of Doc Martens. They had a zipper up the side and laced up taller boots. They were cute. And after the Poshmark credit, I think it cost me like $16. So they were like, $76 total, 60, something like that. Um, anyway, $66. So I get the boots yesterday. I go to try them on. My one concern with them was you know, Doc Martens can be really weird with sizing, especially if they're older ones. Like the newer ones will list like the men's size, the woman's size, the UK size, like all on the little tag. Like older ones will kind of just have the UK size and you have to extrapolate out what your size is. The size tag was not shown in the listing, but they did show the sole of the shoe, which is always a concern when looking at docs because some of them can get really worn. And the rest of the boots looked fine. They had like several pictures. The description wasn't super involved. I got the impression that this was somebody selling off like some of their personal items, like they were not a professional reseller. And Poshmark does pretty good buyer protection, so I wasn't super worried. I knew that if they were the wrong size, I'd be able to return them. Um, anyway, so I got them. They were the correct size. So I'm going to try them on, and behind the zipper is like this extra little flap that gets between like the zipper and your socks so you don't like zip it up. And that flap, all the white coating on it was just like peeling off. It was just flaking off. My entire floor was covered in little bits of white leather paint or something like that, which was really annoying, but like whatever. Ultimately I don't care so much about that. The outside of the boots was fine. So I get my unlace them and undo the zipper, like get my foot in there. I go to zip them up and the whole pull just pulls right off. And I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, well, okay. So I took photos. I opened a case with Poshmark and said like this flaky paint stuff, which obviously I said I wouldn't really have cared about that, but then the zipper just snapped off and I can't wear them, so I want to return them. Poshmark doesn't technically allow returns, but obviously if something is not as described or damaged or whatever, you open a case and they will assess it and determine whether or not you're able to return the item. The seller does have the opportunity to comment on the case, and this seller did. She was lovely. She said, oh, I'm really sorry about that. Like they were my daughters and I just kind of threw them in a box and I should have double checked them before, something along those lines. She said, I'll definitely take a return on these. So Poshmark then looks over the case. They approve the return. They sent me a label. I sent those back today. That was fine. The other thing that I had this week was I had ordered this nightgown off of Depop. I want to show it to you guys because it's so cool. So this was, I'm not going to show you the exact one I bought because I don't want to like pull up the seller's stuff and call them out. But I had found this nightgown on Depop. It was an 80s Olga nightgown, and I'm going to show it to you because they're really cool. And if you find them, you should buy them. The seller had it like on sale for like, it was like on sale for like $30. And of course on Depop, I have to do all of the, pay the buyer fee and shipping and all this stuff, right? So I think after all the fees, it was like $35. Let me see. I'm gonna look one up on the Gem app because they're so cool. Olga was a master at doing nightgowns. So let me see. Also, for the record, some of these, like this one, which is not the same type, but it's similar, $372. Well, crazy town. This one, $402, crazy town. But these are all kind of like, 342, also crazy town. This is very similar though to the nightgown that I ordered. Mine was like a mint green color. And so these are fantastic because let me see if I can find a really good photo of one for you. I mean, they're just so flattering and beautiful when you get them on. I was not going to list, I bought mine to resell, but there was no way I was going to list it as like $400. I was expecting to list it for like 80 to 100. I normally don't like to put in $35 to sell something off for 80, but because this is highly desirable, it's like a fun thing to have in your shop, And so let me see, a lot of these, you can see how high the prices are on some of these 400s. I feel like they're not very realistic. Let's filter this out. Sort by, we're going to do low to high. We're going to see a bunch of stuff that's not what I want at all, but I'm going to see if I can find at least the first one that is sort of. Goodness. Let's see. Maybe we'll find one that we can snag. Like this one. No, that's not it. I know this is exciting, isn't it? Watching me scroll through Gem. Gem is great because it scours. Ooh. Okay. So, all right. Well, So this one you can see $50, which I think is underpriced, but that happens too. Um, so you can see like the sweep of this and everything. And they just have this that lace at the center of the chest really just is so flattering to the figure. Um, it makes sense that they sell for a lot of money. Like they're really beautiful. They have a large following. Anyway, we'll just look at this one. When I got mine, this center lace segment here, I took it out of the package and the lace just had these holes in it. One was pretty large. Then there were a couple of smaller ones. But to be honest, even the smaller holes, if it had only been the smaller ones, I wouldn't have gotten the item with those holes because I just don't feel like I could have resold it. If I had seen it in the thrift store with those holes, I definitely would have grabbed it, but I would have been selling it for like 15 bucks on Whatnot. You know what I mean? Like I probably wouldn't have gotten it to Etsy. And if I did end up listing it on Etsy, I would have been listing it like really cheap because of the holes. The buyer did not disclose any of these holes or any flaws at all. And so when I opened the package, I just, now I'm just scrolling to try and give you something pretty to look at too. This one's nice. When I opened the package, I almost immediately noticed, like looking at the lace, like that it had holes in the lace, right? So I was like, oh man. Now, Depop is also, a lot of sellers on Depop don't accept returns, and a lot of vintage sellers in general don't accept returns. But if you're a professional, even if you don't accept returns as like a matter of course, you're probably accepting returns when things are um, not as described or damaged or whatever, right? So past me would have felt really anxious about reaching out to the seller about this issue because so many sellers are like, I don't take returns and blah, 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 right? Even though the item was damaged, I still would have felt really anxious about it and possibly may not even have reached out and just been like resentful about it. But I did reach out. So, number one, yay me. Number two, I wasn't even anxious about it, which was like, that's like a lot of growth on my part, to be honest, which I know is a separate video in and of itself. But I reached out to the seller and I just said, hey, I'd like to return this item. It's got, the lace has several holes in it. And then I forgot that you can't send photos on Depop through messages, which is really annoying. So I sent them a second message and I said, I can load some photos as a listing if you need to see them. I forgot that Depop doesn't let you attach photos to the messages. The seller responded pretty quickly and just said, unfortunately, all sale items are final sale. So I was like, okay. So I said, understood. It would have been nice if you had disclosed the damage rather than listing the item as excellent condition, which is what they did. And I had gone back and looked at the listing before I reached out to them. I made sure that nothing was highlighted in photos, that they didn't mention anything. I mean, I knew that they hadn't mentioned anything, but maybe I just overlooked something. But yeah, nothing was pointed out. And it specifically, like in Depop, you select condition like excellent, new with tags, good, fair, whatever. So it was listed as excellent condition. So I had said, understood, would have been nice if you mentioned this. And then I went and just opened a case with Depop. And I wasn't going to fight with them in messages. They said all sales are final. I'm like, okay, fine. Now I'm going to open a case. I was just giving them the opportunity to handle it on their own. I don't know if Depop always dings you as a seller if somebody opens a case directly. Like if I bought something on eBay and it was not as described, the only way to handle that is to go and open a return request, right? I could message the seller in advance and just like as a heads up or something, but the seller isn't going to be able to do anything until I open a return request. Depop doesn't have return requests. They don't have a process for that. So you have to just communicate with the seller or open a case. I don't know if Depop considers it automatically like a bad thing if someone opens a case. So I reached out to the seller first. They told me to pound salt, essentially. So I opened a case. Now, in the meantime, they did respond to me again, but at this point, I didn't see their second response until I had already opened the case. They did say, I'm sorry I didn't notice the flaws. Sometimes you can miss things with vintage. You can always send me pictures on Instagram and I can assess the situation. We just want you to be happy. Since I had already opened the case, I didn't bother responding to that at all. I I don't think it's weird that they asked me to send the photos on Instagram. Um, I think it's a little bit, I don't know, like I had already offered to like make a fake listing on Depop to be able to upload the photos. So if I were the seller in this situation and somebody reached out to me with that, I would have said, I would have asked for photos for sure. And I would have said, if you want, like, you can actually like create a listing here on Depop and add the photos in. If you don't know how to do that, I can walk you through it. Or if you just want to send me photos on Instagram, you can do that. Um, Depop doesn't like you to send people off platform for anything because people will try to take like their sales transactions off the platform to avoid fees. Now, in this case, there was not a fee avoidance thing going on, but I also didn't want, like, it's all like bots reading messages and stuff. So I didn't want to like flag any of that stuff for myself. Um, I didn't have to worry about it. I had already opened a case, so whatever. But I also think it's weird because I already said I'll put a listing here on Depop, and they were saying, "Hey, send me pics on IG." To me, I like keeping everything on the sales platform. If somebody has a problem with me on Etsy and they send me an email, I'm going to bring it back to Etsy because I want everything documented. I want it documented for their sake, for my sake. I want everybody to feel safe and protected, right? So, you know, I didn't think it was weird, but whatever, right? Um, Anyway, at the end of the day, I opened the case with Depop. Depop sent a message back. They said, can you send us photos? Which, of course, I uploaded all the photos to them. When you open a case with Depop, Depop will reach out to the seller and say, hey, this person opened a case. Here's the photos, whatever. And then the seller has a chance to respond. The seller can say, yeah, just issue a refund. Or the seller can say, yes, I'd like the item returned to me. So in this case, the seller wanted the item returned, which is fine. And then Depop sent me another message and said, okay, this is the address to send everything back to. Once you've sent it back, show us proof of tracking and also proof of your receipt of how much you paid for shipping. And I guess like I'll be reimbursed for my shipping. And so I did all of that. But, you know, overall, like the Depop thing, it's just weird. The Depop seller was a professional reseller. They appeared to be anyway. They certainly had like a ton of stuff listed. They had a lot of reviews. I did look through a couple of reviews. Everybody, they had great reviews. I'm not trying to screw the seller. So like if Depop had just issued me a refund without mentioning the return or whatever, I probably still would have reached back out to the seller and said, hey, listen, if you want this thing back, I'll send it back to you. But, um, I certainly wasn't going to use it for anything. So I got those both sent back. But I thought it was interesting that the Poshmark seller, who does not seem to be a professional reseller, handled the issue more professionally than the seemingly professional Depop seller. So just fun little customer service lessons there. Anyway, thank you for listening to me babble about all that. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that all the sales information is valuable or interesting. If it's too tedious, like me going over like the actual price versus what I end up making after all of the discounts and shipping and all that, let me know and I'll just kind of cut some of that out. But I feel like, especially if you're not a super seasoned reseller, it helps to hear a lot of that stuff. And I mean, we all know I'm still leaving stuff out. I'm still leaving out all the platform fees. I'm leaving out like my expenses as far as bubble wrap and poly mailers and business cards and whatever. But like I wouldn't be making these videos if I had to go through all of those expenses and break everything down in that much detail for each one of these sales. But I feel like it's helpful. So let me know if there's parts of it you don't want to hear, but I appreciate you watching this. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Give me a little like or a comment or let me know your thoughts, and I will see you again soon. Bye.